The Great Fall of Ancient Greece. How Debt Destroyed a Country. Imagine a civilization celebrated for philosophy, democracy, and heroism. A place where reason ruled and legends were born. Now picture that same civilization brought to its knees, not by war or invasion, but by something as invisible and abstract as debt. What if I told you that ancient Greece, the cradle of Western civilization, collapsed under financial burdens so severe that citizens were sold into slavery, cities imploded, and trust in government shattered? This isn't just history, it's a warning. In this video, we unravel how debt quietly infiltrated Greek society, from the farms of Attica to the halls of Athens, and how economic missteps sparked unrest, reforms, and ultimately downfall. But stay with me, because buried in these ruins are patterns that eerily mirror our world today. Could we be repeating the same mistakes? Ancient Greece did not begin as a broken nation. Ancient Greece emerged from the shadows of the Dark Ages around the 8th century BCE. A collection of independent city-states, Athens, Sparta, Corinth, each with its own laws, economy, and ambitions. At first glance, these polis flourished through trade, agriculture, and maritime power. But beneath the marble statues and democratic ideals, a quieter force was spreading private debt. Most Greek citizens were subsistence farmers, cultivating poor land. When harvests failed or taxes rose, they turned to wealthy aristocrats for loans, secured not by money, but by their very freedom. If debts went unpaid, a man, his wife, and children could legally be seized and sold. This was not metaphorical debt, it was bondage. Land ownership grew concentrated among elites. Social tension simmered. Rumors spoke of families vanishing overnight, sold abroad to cover interest. Yet, the state offered no relief. Debt was seen as a private contract, untouchable by law. But this would not last. A storm of reform, revolution, and ruin was coming. By the 7th century BCE, Athens had transformed into a battleground not of swords, but of contracts. Aristocrats extended credit at crushing rates. Debtors, marked by horoi, stone markers placed on their land, signifying it was mortgaged. These stones became symbols of shame. Solon enacted the seisachthia, the shaking off of burdens. He outlawed debt slavery, erased existing debts, and freed those sold abroad. For a moment, Athens breathed. But Solon refused to redistribute land. The poor felt betrayed. The rich felt robbed. His poetry warned, "I stood with my shield between the two." He walked away, leaving Athens to interpret his laws. The wounds of debt remained. Into this fragile balance stepped Pisistratus, a populist who seized power, promising protection for the poor. He offered state loans, funded festivals, and built temples. Prosperity returned, but funded by borrowing. Athens tasted economic stimulus and dependency. Yet after his death, chaos returned. Factions warred. External threats loomed. Persia. The Persian Wars forged unity, but the Delian League turned Athens into an empire. Tribute flowed in, silver from Laurian mines enriched coffers. But war breeds cost. Peloponnesian conflict with Sparta drained resources. Athens borrowed not from lenders but from allies. Tribute became taxation. Resentment brewed. Then the unthinkable. Defeat. Athens lost the war. Its treasury empty. Walls torn down. Thousands dead. Poverty surged. Veterans returned to find land seized. Debts unpaid. Futures gone. Once more, rich creditors ruled. Philosophers like Plato warned, "A state in debt is a state in decay." But no one listened. Attempts at reform sputtered. Currency devalued. Mercenaries hired. Cities borrowed to fund wars they could not win. And into this weakened world stepped Philip of Macedon, exploiting Greek disunity. Debt had fractured Greek unity long before his armies arrived. Greece fell not only to the spear but to the ledger. Consider today, nations drowning in loans, citizens burdened by interest, International creditors imposing terms. In 2015, modern Greece faced bankruptcy, its people protesting austerity, echoing ancient cries, "We cannot pay." History does not repeat, but it rhymes. Today, over 300 million people worldwide live under unpayable debt. Student loans in the United States exceed $1.7 trillion. Nations from Argentina to Lebanon negotiate with the IMF, trading sovereignty for solvency. Modern citizens do not risk chains, but foreclosure, credit ruin, generational stagnation. Debt may have changed its language from shackles to credit scores, but its power remains the same: to decide who rises and who falls.